Frumess talks about Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Let's all talk about Halloween, Silver Shamrock. This was the year of Shudder for me. Like every year kind of has a theme. Sometimes we do Universal Horror, sometimes we do Hammer, sometimes we do anthologies. This year was all about just watching Shudder. Maybe it's because I neglected my Shudder account, my Shudder subscription. I wanted to just make good use of it, and I most certainly did this year. And I tried to, we didn't watch too many older films, too many black and white films, but I tried to expand my horizons with some international fare, watch some French films, watch some Japanese films. And in this case, I watched a Kazakhstan film called Sweetie, You Won't Believe It from 2020, directed by Yernar Nurgaliyev. And you won't believe this. Dastan can no longer stand the constant nagging of his highly pregnant wife and decides to run away for at least one day with his friends. Men go fishing, which would have gone smoothly if not for a series of unforeseen events. And I love movies. We talked about all the different premises. What are they doing with the bodies in the morgue? What kind of meat are they eating? Is the trope of are they or is it the thing or not the thing that we suspect it of being? That's a premise, that sort of thing. And now we're confronted with the premise of a series of unforeseen events unfolding, which I absolutely love. And, a series of unforeseen events is not necessarily a horror premise. It's something that you see in a lot of sort of indie movies. You see it, like, I think of like a movie like Pulp Fiction or Go or whatever. Some movie where, again, you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, and it loops you into this whole ordeal. And that's basically what happens in Sweetie, You Won't Believe It. The comedy is it's Kazakhstani culture. I got some of the humor, but some of it just didn't land for me particularly. And I think maybe it was my American palate. I didn't connect with it. This movie is very gory, like very violent and gory. You have these gangsters who are, after our guys who just want to go out fishing because they witnessed a murder, and it just goes on from there. It's absolutely worth checking out, especially, the beautiful thing, again, one of the beautiful things that I love about watching movies from other places is that you do get to see ways of life that are, so similar and yet so different from your own. In the case in point, Kazakhstan. I mean, you just don't think of, the only time you think of Kazakhstan, you think of Borat, and Kazakhstan is so much more to that. Case in point, in this movie, you get to like sort of really see, like, at least at the beginning, before all the crazy ridiculous elements, you see him in like a pharmacy waiting in line. It's like, oh, that's a Kazakhstani pharmacy. You don't think about that. You don't think that that's what happens on the other side of the world, but it does. My friend Josh, his wife Alina, she is Kazakhstani, actually, funny enough, and they've been to Kazakhstan. I wonder if she's seen Sweetie, You Won't Believe It. Definitely check it out for sure. It's not necessarily like I would say it's horror adjacent. It wasn't a Halloween movie for sure. And, it's just a big ordeal. And like I said, some of the bickering housewife elements, which maybe it's more of like a Kazakhstani humor thing. It just didn't really, I don't know. It didn't really land for me, but not to say that it wasn't good, and not to say that there were plenty. I mean, there was so much. I think you had this crazy guy who had like one of those like weird, like frosted eyes, like his eye was grayed over, blurred out, or whatever you want to call it. And he's going around killing people too. It was a crazy mixed up movie. Lots of gory stuff. You got a fishing line. he gets a fishing hook caught in his ear, and it rips his earlobe off. I would say, in fact, the comedy that lands the hardest is the slapstick humor that comes from the ultra violence that's present in the film. So, Sweetie, You Won't Believe It from 2020. 3 out of 5 stars, now streaming on Shudder.